Now back to Senior Matters on the Big WECK.
Welcome back to Senior Matters on the Big WECK. I'm your host, Joe Chille. With us today in studio, Jeremy Morlock, who's the director of the Kidney Foundation of Western New York. Jeremy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, this kind of, it's a show that kind of strikes close to my heart because my dad had kidney disease. And I think it was, when he was younger, probably didn't pay as close attention to high blood pressure and things of this nature. And then he went on something called peritoneal dialysis. I guess a lot of people don't understand that because he was able to have dialysis at home overnight, and then he had just a very full active life during the course of the day. He didn't have to think about it. He didn't have to worry about it. And, kind of nice to be able to do it overnight. He could sleep while it was going on,
Oh, my goodness. Home dialysis is such a great option for people who are, well suited for it. Everybody's got slightly different needs, but if you're able to do home dialysis, you can rest better at night. Your risk of infection is actually lower because you're not traveling to and from. And people who do in-center dialysis, it's usually about 4 hours a day, 3 days a week. And so that really does add up. So yeah, when people are able to do it at home, it's great for quality of life. It's great for their families. And it's wonderful to hear that he had that good experience.
And he lived to 92 years of age, so I mean, that was, he wanted to kind of, his mom lived to 101, so he was kind of pushing for that, what I mean? But that's a good, nice long life. Let me ask you this. Now, the Kidney Foundation of Western New York, what does it specifically do in the community?
So we work to raise awareness about kidney disease and risk factors for kidney disease, things like high blood pressure and diabetes and a family history of kidney health problems. We provide free community kidney health screenings out in the community so people can come to our events, find out kind of a snapshot of their kidney health. We let people know about treatment options like peritoneal dialysis, like hemodialysis, like kidney transplantation. And we also do provide some support for people who have kidney disease who might have some short-term needs, things like, they need transportation to their doctor's appointment or to dialysis.
Now, kidney disease itself, I mean, if you're having problems with your kidneys, is there, like some kind of symptom that is, universal, that everybody will say, oh, okay, boy, I better go to the doctor? Or is it something that's kind of more silent, just kind of sneaks up on you?
Yeah, that's the real challenge, is that it is a silent disease. And most people with kidney disease don't notice symptoms until it's gotten pretty advanced. You can lose about 90% of your kidney function before symptoms become evident. And that lost function, unfortunately, is permanently lost. So the earlier we can catch kidney disease, the earlier we can find it, the better chance people have of slowing that progression of the disease, protecting their kidney function, and living longer, healthier lives.
Now, can you, when you go for a regular physical, going to see your doctor, you usually go and you have blood work done, or they ask for a urine sample, or whatever the case may be. Can they find out in that fashion whether you have some sort of disease?
Yeah. So if you get an annual physical and you have a blood test as part of that, almost always that includes a number called the eGFR, which is an estimation of how well your kidneys are filtering. So that's a great chance to see where your level's at. And then one of the things we tell people is, even if you feel healthy, it's important to get those annual physicals, to have that regular checkup, because then they have a baseline. Your medical team can keep track of your kidney function over time. And if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, family history of kidney health problems, autoimmune diseases like lupus, it's especially important to know how well your kidneys are functioning and what you can do to protect them.
Funny, I go into the doctor's office, and oftentimes they'll say, and I go to, like Western New York Urology or whatever, and I had prostate cancer, in like 7 years ago, and I've had no problem since. I had treatment for it. But, you'll go in, I never even think of it. They said, any changes in insurance? I said, no. And then they hand me the cup, and they says, here you go. Can you give us a sample? I'm like, oh, maybe. I'm sorry, I didn't study for this, for my, for the exam. What are some of the factors? I mean, I think that, we talked about high blood pressure, and some people, not people that have type 1 diabetes, but type 2 diabetes can be more frequent in individuals as they get older, right?
Yes, yeah.
So that can be a factor as well?
Yeah. So the longer you have type 2 diabetes, the greater the risk to your kidney health. And also, everybody, just kind of as a natural function of aging, you lose some of your kidney function. So it's important, again, as you age, to keep an eye on that and know how those numbers are changing, and to do things that are generally healthy for you. Your healthy lifestyle, a healthy diet will protect your kidneys.
I think they recommend, or they used to recommend, so many, bottles of water a day or glasses of water a day, right? And I'm thinking, if I drank that much water, I would have to have a microphone in my bathroom,
right?
Which is probably not an ideal thing to do. But is it a matter of hydration? Is that important for kidney health?
Hydration is really important for kidney health, especially if you're starting out healthy. If your kidneys are functioning well, staying well hydrated helps keep them functioning well. And a good kind of rule of thumb is to let your thirst guide you. Make sure that you've got water nearby and sip it when you're thirsty. It's also really important if you're taking even some over-the-counter medicines like ibuprofen or certain flu medicines. If you're dehydrated, those can be damaging to your kidneys. So if you're taking medications, if you're ill, staying hydrated is really important.
It's funny, when I went for my flu shot and, my COVID vaccine or whatever, my doctor sent it in advance. I was told that I should really superhydrate before you go. And he says, I'm not saying that superhydrating is going to make you feel much better, but if you're dehydrated, it's going to make you feel a lot worse. I mean, right off the bat. So you have to think about that. And sometimes in summer months, I mean, if you're taking, maybe a water pill or whatever the case may be, you can become dehydrated before you really feel thirsty, right?
Yeah, it's really important if you're physically active or if you're in a hot circumstance that you're taking breaks, that you're taking plenty of water with you, and that you're staying hydrated.
Senior Matters in the Big WECK is brought to you by Independent Health. The Red Shirts are all about your health. And PB Elder Law, Buffalo's trusted elder law firm. We're speaking with Jeremy Morlock today, who is the director of the Kidney Foundation of Western New York. And how do people really know then if their kidneys are healthy? Is it a byproduct of going to see your doctor regularly? Are there triggers that you would, maybe some symptoms that you might feel that you should check with your doctor immediately?
Yeah, if you see a lot of changes in urination, if you see foamy urine, or if you're kind of swelling up and retaining water, that can be a sign of kidney issues. But really, because so many of the symptoms can be mistaken for other things, or because they slowly get worse over time, people don't necessarily even notice them. Seeing your doctor is really important.
The other thing is, I know as you get older, I've had relatives that, acted strangely. There were things that, they just didn't, they seemed a bit off, and it ended up that they had a UTI. And who would ever think that something like that would change, the way that you act or the way that you feel otherwise in an urgency to go to the bathroom or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because the kidneys are kind of underappreciated. They're the filters of the body. They're, just about the size of your fist. Most people have two of them, and they are working all the time, and they're taking toxins out of your blood, and they're taking excess fluid out of your blood. And if your kidneys aren't working correctly, then you have those toxins and fluids building up within you, and that can lead to all sorts of changes.
And the other thing I think that was good, for me is when you go to the doctor, they ask your family history, and when they find out that other people have had kidney problems in your family, there can be preventative measures that they can do and things that they can tell you to watch out for, right? So that can help you out, so that maybe you won't fall into the same category as your parents or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we had talked about high blood pressure being a leading cause of kidney disease. But if you have a family history of kidney health problems and you have high blood pressure, they can actually prescribe you certain blood pressure meds that will not only lower your blood pressure, but are effective at protecting your kidney function independently as well.
I always, it was not the fact necessarily that my dad had kidney disease, but what constantly reminded me to have my kidneys checked is my dad used to say to me all the time, you're really peeing me off. And I go, I should probably have my kidneys checked. What kind of steps can people take to protect their kidneys? Now, again, you should see your doctor. A lot of people are like, I would rather not know. They have the ostrich syndrome.
Right.
I'm going to bury my head and nothing's going to hurt me, right? And this is obviously a big mistake.
Yeah. So the two top things are, if you have diabetes, keep your diabetes under control, monitor your blood sugar. If you have high blood pressure, keep that under control, keep it monitored. But there are lots of general things that you can do too. Basically, when it comes to foods, things that you hear about as being heart healthy foods are kidney healthy foods too. So fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, whole grains, low fat foods. You want to be physically active. They recommend about 30 minutes a day of physical activity. People with obesity have a higher risk of kidney disease. So if you are overweight or obese and can work with your medical team to come up with a healthy weight loss plan, that can be really helpful. Something as simple as getting 8 hours of sleep a night actually helps keep your hormones in better balance, and that helps protect your kidneys too.
That's great. I can still sleep all night. I don't have to get up in the middle of the night. I can sleep like 8-9 hours, not have to get up. And I had somebody say to me, really? Do you don't have to go to the bathroom during the night? I said, I don't think I do.
That's lucky.
Better check. All right. So once again, in the event that people want to find out more about this, about kidney health, whether it be for them, whether it be for family members or friends that they think may be suffering from this, where can they go? Is there a website that you
Yeah. So we have a website for the Kidney Foundation of Western New York. It's kfwny.org. And people can also just give us a call at our offices, 716-529-4390. And we can answer questions that are simple. And if people need resources, if people need connections, we can provide that as well.
All right. And the website is kind of like the initials. So it's www.kfwny.org.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Very good. Jeremy Morlock, thank you very much for joining us. I wish you happy holidays.
Thank you so much. You too.
You've been listening to Senior Matters on the Big WECK, the only one-hour radio show devoted to the adult population of Buffalo and Western New York. Listen to the podcast anytime, on demand at bigweck.com. Senior Matters is sponsored by PB Elder Law, Buffalo's only law firm devoted 100% to elder law, and by Independent Health.
What does the red shirt treatment really mean for you? It means getting answers and access to the care you need. Learn more about Independent Health at redshirttreatment.com.
If you have a suggestion for a show guest on Senior Matters, call the Big WECK at 716-783-9120, weekdays during normal business hours.
Join us again next Saturday morning for Senior Matters on the Big WECK.